Hey guys, it's me Ida. Welcome back to my channel. So today this video is all about how to tell if your products have protein in it. So I just kind of thought, why not make a video kind of explaining how I determine if there's protein ingredients in your products. And so I'm going to kind of go over some of the products that I have that contain protein, go over the labels, and then go over some of the common proteins that are found in products and how you can tell if there's protein in your products. And basically just a little bit of tips for protein sensitive hair, when you need protein, what kinds of protein, how often, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so because I have protein sensitive hair, I don't really have too many products with me that actually have protein in it because I rarely use protein. I still use it once in a while, but I don't use it as often. So this is one of the products that I have that contain protein in it. This is the Eco Styler Argan Oil Styling Gel. The protein in here is hydrolyzed wheat protein. That's the only protein that I see in here. This product I don't use often because it has protein and it's pretty far up on the list. It is the third ingredient, but it is a smaller protein and there's only one protein in the ingredient. So that's also a sign to see how much protein a product has. So my hair is protein sensitive, but I can actually get away with using some proteins a little bit, but then I do get protein overload pretty easily. So basically I have to alternate gels. So I can use this gel about 3 to 4 times in a row, and then my hair will start feeling like it has protein overload. It's gonna feel really dry, brittle, and hard. And I can just tell that it's because of the proteins in the product. So that's why I usually stick to protein-free gels. If you wanna know if there's protein in your product, in most cases, not all the time, it's gonna have the word protein in it. They'll have like a few different words before it, but generally like the word protein will be in the ingredient list. So another product that I have that contains protein is the Afro-G 2-step protein treatment. The only reason why I have this is because I was trying to bring back my bangs. They were permanently stretched, pretty damaged, lost elasticity, and basically lost my curl pattern. And so I thought, why not get this? Is a stronger protein treatment. There is more than one protein in here. Hydrolyzed collagen, that is the second ingredient, so it's pretty high on the ingredient list, and collagen is a bigger size protein, and it also has hydrolyzed vegetable protein in it. So because it has 2 proteins in it, usually in most cases, not all the time, but in most cases that tells me that this product contains a lot more protein than usual, and so it can be maybe more of like a strengthening treatment, something that I basically will probably stay away from because I am protein sensitive. So sometimes I can get away with just like 1 protein in the ingredient list if it's further down or if it's a smaller size protein, but if it's 2 proteins and they're not smaller size especially, then I usually won't be able to use it. One time of using it, my hair will be really hard, really dry, and really brittle. Another way to tell if your product has protein in it, even if you don't want to read the ingredient list, which I definitely recommend that you do, with this type of product here, on the label it says stops hair breakage, rebuilds hair structure. So those are signs that this product does have protein in it. Protein is usually, you know, to strengthen your hair, right? And so the fact that it kind of tells you on the label what it's gonna do, big indicator that it has protein in it, and usually a lot more protein than the average product. So there are a lot of products that still have protein in it and it won't have, you know, a label that says strengthening or repair or anything like that. So that's why reading the ingredients is really important, because sometimes you can't just rely on the actual label. Okay, so I'm gonna put up a slide right here of the most common proteins you're gonna find in ingredients. You can find them in shampoos, conditioners, leave-in conditioners, rinse-out conditioners, deep conditioners, protein treatments, and even gels. And so these are not all the proteins, but these are the most common ones that I come across. And sometimes you're gonna see the word hydrolyzed in front of the protein, and basically that just kind of means that they made the protein a bit smaller so that your hair can be able to penetrate that protein a lot better, because otherwise sometimes a lot of the proteins are too big in molecular size and they're just gonna sit on top of your hair rather than penetrating into your hair. And sometimes you're gonna see other words in front of the protein, so don't get confused by all these like chemical names and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, they are all proteins. If you're not sure if an ingredient is a protein, because sometimes it can be tricky, what I do is I actually Google the ingredient if I'm not familiar with it. After a while, you're gonna be so used to reading ingredient labels, like you're gonna know exactly what ingredients are what. A lot of these hair products contain like the same type of ingredients. So after a while, you're gonna be able to really spot out what ingredient does what. So some of these proteins are going to be bigger in molecular size than other proteins. However, the only thing is with that is that we can't really tell how large the protein is, because on the product label, it actually doesn't tell you the size. I basically went by trial and error, and for my hair, I've noticed that my hair can basically handle amino acids, silk protein, and hydrolyzed wheat protein. So when I say handle, basically I can use it a few times and then not have to deal with the protein overload, rather than some products, just using it one time, my hair reacts really negatively to it and I can't use it any longer. So usually the first 5 ingredients in a product usually has the highest concentration in the product. So if the protein is in the first 5 ingredients, then you know that there is a higher concentration of protein in it. Also, if there is more than one protein in the product, then you know it has a higher concentration of protein. So you just have to kind of do some experimenting and see kind of what your hair likes. And also depends how often are you going to use these products. For me, I like to stick to protein-free products, and when I feel that my hair is really over-conditioned, it feels kind of mushy and a little bit limp when it's wet, and I just feel like there's something off with it and it's like a little too conditioned, and then I'll just add in a light protein treatment here and there, like probably once every 2-3 months, just to kind of make sure that my hair has that strength. Also, I have read that certain plant extracts and plants like aloe vera or algae extract contain protein in it, or they mimic protein. I'm not 200% sure on that. I haven't really experimented with those ingredients well enough and often enough to actually speak about it. I'm going to definitely look into that a bit further, and I'll definitely do an updated protein video in the future. But if you guys have any information on that as well, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. So those homemade ingredients for protein treatments like eggs, avocado, mayonnaise, Greek yogurt, they are proteins, but they're too big in molecular size to penetrate inside of your hair to actually bind and repair actual damage. So basically they do sit on top of your hair. If you are protein sensitive, I probably wouldn't recommend those ones for you, because if anything, especially if you have low porosity hair and protein sensitive hair, you're gonna need something smaller in size to actually penetrate into your hair. So I would say for low porosity hair and for coarse textured hair especially, definitely I would stick to smaller size proteins and light protein treatments as needed when your hair actually needs it. Especially with coarse textured hair, you're not going to actually need protein as much as someone with fine textured hair, because with fine textured hair, the strands are a lot thinner and more fragile. So you are going to need more protein to strengthen the hair to prevent it from over conditioning, preventing it from hair breakage. So basically it all depends on basically what type of hair you have, what you do to your hair. Do you style it a lot? Do you manipulate a lot of wear and tear? Do you color it, damage it? The healthier your hair is and the coarser your hair is, basically the less protein you're going to need, because you already have enough of your own protein. When we ask ourselves who needs protein, we actually all need protein because our hair is actually made up of protein, but some people need protein more than others. If your hair is color treated, relaxed, if it's damaged, high porosity, if your hair is over conditioned, if your hair is old, meaning like if it's really long, then the ends of your hair especially definitely gonna need more protein, because if you think about it, it takes years for a hair to grow, right? To be at a certain length. So that hair has been on your head for several years. It's gone through a lot of wear and tear, shampooing, conditioning, manipulating, and all that kind of stuff, and it's lost some of its protein over time, so you just have to rebuild that protein as well. Who needs less protein? Healthy hair, coarse textured hair, low porosity hair, and basically like your new hair, like your new growth, because just like I said, opposite of older hair has gone through a lot of wear and tear, your new growth basically is just fresh, new, healthy, strong hair. It hasn't really lost any of its protein yet. And of course, if you already have protein overload, then you definitely need to stay away from protein until your hair recovers. So how often should you use protein in your hair? That really all depends on your hair characteristics and the state of your hair. So for me, because I have low porosity hair, coarse textured hair, and protein sensitive hair, I really do limit the use of protein in my hair regimen. So I will stick to protein-free products, and then I'll have like a light protein treatment on the side, so I can actually easily incorporate that into my hair regimen whenever I need it. So I just kind of observe my hair, see how it reacts, and if it needs a bit more strength, then I'll add that in. So for me, it's usually typically about 2 to 3 months, but I'm actually realizing now, and I'm finding out that the front part of my hair is about medium texture, so very different from the rest of my hair, which is coarse. And basically what I have realized that I have to start incorporating in my regimen is I have to actually start using protein products in the front part of my hair a lot more often than the rest of my hair, because I was treating every part of my hair the same way, and unfortunately the front part of my hair really suffered because of that. And you manipulate usually the front of your hair a lot more as well, right? So it's more prone to breakage. So from now on, I'm actually going to incorporate protein treatments a lot more often in the front part of my hair because it needs it. I'm still gonna stick to protein-free shampoos and you know, gels, conditioners, and all the rest of the products I use to wash and style my hair. And then I'll just like buy light protein treatments and then add that onto my hair. I deep condition my hair every week, so some of the times instead of deep conditioning the front part of my hair, I'll just replace that with the light protein treatment. So you're not really doing any added extra steps, you're just kind of treating different parts of your hair differently, if you know what I mean. Don't confuse protein sensitivity to protein overload. So say you rarely use protein, you just use 1 or 2 products that have protein in it, and then boom, right away your hair feels really hard and brittle. And every time you use like a product that has like protein in it and you rarely ever use protein, your hair just really reacts really negatively to it, then you're probably protein sensitive. But if all your products are protein, like your shampoo, your leave-in conditioner, your conditioner, you're always using it all the time, and then your hair is basically suffering from protein overload and your hair is really hard and stiff and brittle, then that's different because you're using so many products that have protein in it and you're using it so often. So eventually you are gonna get protein overload. Someone that has protein sensitivity, they'll get protein overload a lot quicker. I actually have a video all about protein sensitivity, really detailed. I have like a slideshow, everything. So if you guys actually want to watch that one, I'll put the link in the description box. So if you do have protein overload and you want to know how to recover from that, basically just immediately stop using those products that have protein in it. Just stick to the moisture, stick to conditioning products, protein-free products. It might take a few weeks to come back to normal, but it will eventually get back to its normal condition. And then you just basically have to monitor how much protein you're putting back into your regimen. And that's why I like to stick to protein-free products and then buy light protein treatments on the side, because then I can have better control on how often I'm gonna put protein in my hair. There's so much information out there when it comes to figuring out what your hair type is. Are you protein sensitive? Are you low porosity? What products to use? What ingredients? It can be really confusing and just a lot of information. Even myself, I've been natural for about 4 to 5 years now and I'm still learning. I hope this video was helpful. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave those comments below and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.